Take a look at that real quick, eh? TC. You know, here we are in 2016, and it seems as if the whole world is going all PC. That's politically correct. Everybody tiptoes around the words that they use when they talk in an effort not to offend anybody. Except, of course, like Donald Trump and Manny Pacquiao, they don't really give a fuck. And to me, you can only really control what you say. You can't really control what somebody else hears. You're always going to offend somebody. So being all PC, I mean, that's no way of life for me. I think Drake said it best when he said, started not to give a fuck and stop fearing the consequence. Only I'll take it one further and say, never really gave a fuck and never feared the consequence. So while everybody's trying to be all PC, I'm all about that TC. That's triceps crushing. So my question to you is, you down with TC, bruh? Crushing those fucking tries? Because if you are, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Popular Biomechanics for Kids. I'm your host, Ben Halsell, and today we're talking skull crushers. Only, in this case, you don't actually want to crush your skull, you want to crush the backside of your arm. So if you're going to include this exercise in your strategy, you're going to want to have an idea of when the muscles involved are going to be overloaded, so you have a better idea of what else you need to include in your strategy to maximize your return on investment of time and effort. Let's do a quick review of the universal law levers and then take a look at the biomechanics of a skull crusher. We got the lever in the direction of resistance. When they're parallel to one another, it's an inactive position. When they're perpendicular, that's a maximally active position. So let's take a look at our PC and see what he's doing today. There he is, lying on his back like a true piece of monkey crap, performing a skull crusher. So we got two levers to take a look for. The forearm, the ulna, one of the two forearm bones, and the upper arm. And the reason we want to look at that lever is because the long head of the triceps crosses the shoulder joint, so the relative position of the upper arm compared to the direction of resistance as well as the torso of the individual will influence how much demand that part of the muscle is going to be under. So in this case, Rudy Poo is just lowering the bar down to his nose. To facilitate that, his upper arm is perpendicular to his body. So if he just bends at the elbow, the bar will come all the way down to around where his nose is going to be, and if he extends his elbow fully in the top position, the lever is going to be parallel to the direction of resistance, and the tension is going to be taken off the muscles. So we can tell by looking at this that when the forearm lever is perpendicular to the direction of resistance, the muscles involved are probably at or near their mid-range. So skull crusher is going to overload the triceps at or near their mid-range. And this goes for the long head as well, which is partially responsible for shoulder extension, because in this position, the upper arm is not fully extended at the shoulder joint and it's not fully flexed. So that's why we could say that the skull crusher is going to overload the triceps at or near their mid-range. But what if you were to try to lower the bar to your forehead or behind your head? In this case, to facilitate this range of motion to be performed, your upper arm can't really be parallel or perpendicular to your body anyways. You're going to have to bring your elbow back towards your face a little bit so that you can allow your forearm to come down around where your forehead would be. So if we take a look at the levers once again, when is the forearm perpendicular to the direction of resistance? In this case, it's in a more relatively extended elbow position. Now worth noting as well is because the long head crosses the shoulder joint, in this position, the upper arm is no longer parallel to the direction of resistance. So the long head is going to have to produce force to some degree to try to maintain the alignment of the upper arm just so you can do this exercise. So what's happening if you try to do your skull crushers this way is you're increasing the demand on the long head in a more extended position at the elbow joint. And if you went through a full range of motion, in this case, the lever's never parallel to the direction of resistance. Therefore, you're keeping the triceps under constant tension. And the long head has to work to keep the upper arm stable because it is not parallel to the direction of resistance either. Now, what if you were to lower down to your mouth? In this case, you would do the opposite. Your elbow would be closer to your waist, not your face, and this will facilitate a greater range of motion to be performed at the elbow joint because you can flex at the elbow more before the bar is going to smash you in the mouth. So what's happening here is that lever now is more perpendicular to the direction of resistance in a more flexed elbow position. This is going to overload the triceps at the elbow joint in their more lengthened position. But the long head, because it crosses the shoulder joint, is now in a more shortened position. So depending on where you want to work, should really determine how you do your skull crushers. If you do them the traditional way with the elbow perpendicular to your body, you're going to be overloading all three heads of the tricep at or near their mid-range. You come behind your head, you're going to increase the demand on the long head and keep the triceps under constant tension through a full range of motion. If you come down to the mouth, you're going to get a greater range of motion at the elbow, but you're never really going to want to fully extend because after you go beyond parallel of the direction of resistance, you're taking the stress off the triceps completely. And in fact, the shoulders and biceps to some degree are going to have to work to bring the arm back through the range of motion that you want to train the triceps through. So this is something that anybody should know if they're going to include skull crushers in their strategy and an attempt to crush their fucking tries, because they're all about that TC, bruh. If you like this information, feel free to share. Click the fucking button at the bottom, subscribe to the channel, and I will keep bringing it.